let's move to some other issues, majorly on Nigeria's independence. Nigeria is 50 years old, calculating from 1960, the day the British left off the hook. Since then, the journey has not been rosy at all. In fact, arguments of the marriage of the different peoples of Nigeria have been questioned. On October 1st, which is yesterday, early in the morning, Nigerians woke up to the address by the president. Well, let's take some highlights of the address by President Muhammadu Buhari relating to security, the economy, and the issues in the Niger Delta. Take a listen.
I believe that this recession will not last. Temporary problems should not blind or divert us from the corrective course this government has charted for our nation. Boko Haram was defeated by last December, only resorting to cowardly attacks on soft targets, killing innocent men, women, and children. Nigerians should thank our gallant men of the armed forces and police for rescuing large areas of the country captured by the insurgents. A new insurgency has reared up its head in the shape of blown up gas and oil pipelines by groups of Niger Delta militants. This administration will not allow these mindless groups to hold the country to ransom. Boko Haram was defeated by last December, only resorting to cowardly attacks on soft targets, killing innocent men, women, and children.
The president there and some of the highlights, the sound bites, the major ones that we'll bring into you to get a perspective and a sense of how impressive those words are to Nigerians. Joining me to discuss these, of course, is one person a lot of people know too well, and the knowledge of the history and the politics of Nigeria. Professor of Political Science, Professor Abubakar Momo. He joins us from our Abuja studio. Many thanks for coming on the program. Let's begin with the analysis and assessment of the president's speech. Nigeria is 56 years of age from 1960, calculating that way. One would be wondering, at such a critical time, the nation is in economic recession. How would you assess the speech of the president? How do you think it comes across to an average Nigerian?
Well, I've listened to quite a number of newspaper and electronic media analysis of the speech. Some have been quite patronizing, some have been quite fair, some have been ruthlessly critical, and some have been ultra-anarchical in terms of their analysis of the president, Mr. President's speech. What I think Mr. President tried to achieve with this speech is threefold. One, to say that I had or I laid out a 3-point specific short to medium term mandate that I intended to accomplish. One on security, one on corruption,
Prof,
the other
just
on
a moment.
Unemployment, particularly youth unemployment.
Prof,
which
Professor,
is running.
Professor, I'm sorry, I would like to pause you for a moment because we'll go on a short break and we'll come back to take the rest of your thoughts on that matter. Join us again. Many thanks for staying with us, everyone. We're back now. Professor Abubakar Momo, Professor of Political Science, has been assessing and analyzing the President's October 1st address to the nation on the issue of independence. Professor, I'm sorry to have paused you, but could you just go ahead with your thoughts there?
Yeah, so to raise the three key points which could serve as takeaway for Nigerians in more concrete and graphic terms, that one, we must leave the culture of lamentation, despondency, and, if you like, pessimism in terms of being pessimistic about the capacity and capability of the government to deliver, or for the current government to give the right leadership in the right direction. And this is illustrated in the fact that, in his view, since December last year, the security question, which was one very important one on the national turf, on the global turf, that they've been able to cripple the Boko Haram, and that their capacity to attack is quite limited, and almost it has been extinct as a security threat to the country. However, he then linked it to the Niger Delta issue, which was not simply in terms of how the security question has bounced back in a demagogic form in that part of the country, but the fact that it has had impact or implication for generation of thermal electricity and ability to meet targets of megawatts, which by December last year was about 5,000 and all that, and had suddenly alarmingly dwindled. So he linked that to development and the fact that this has wider implication, and which then means that it has to be addressed as a security question and a developmental question. But the second major point relating to that has to do with the fact that he, in very concrete and graphic terms, laid what the government is doing in terms of infrastructural development, how much was expended, actual that we released, in some cases zero-sum amount for specific infrastructural development, whereas in this current budget, particularly, for example, to the Ministry on Power, Works, and so on, whose budget actual releases on infrastructure has more than quadrupled, and how he believes in the shortest possible time, this will have impact and impressive implication on the developmental agenda of the government, and how, for example, agriculture is going to be used to recalibrate the economy and lead to positive growth, and so forth and so on. All of this, for me, are important takeaways that tend to inspire rather than create a sense of despondency. The critical point, however, has to do with the employment generation question, employment creation, and all that, which has not really, in my view, been tackled and explained in very concrete terms and so on. The budget speech itself was short. It was not long, it was to the point, it was crisp, and it was very, very targeted. But there were still some gray areas in which Nigerians wanted to know, for example, and one of them, like I said, is the question about employment generation in very concrete terms, and what the government is doing in this regard. I know, for example, certain ministries, departments, and agencies of government have put out advertisements there online and so on for people to apply and so on. But if what happened in certain agencies of government and departments is anything to go by, then it means that some of these ministries and agencies of government must be made to be transparent, to be publicly accountable, and to subject themselves to public scrutiny in their recruitment, whereby issues of patronage, cronyism, clientelism, and so on will not override the principle of merit and access.
Okay,
because what
Professor Momo,
in most cases is that people...
If I may quickly just chip in this question, in the whole, a lot of expectations came with the day, 1st of October. A lot of Nigerians woke up with pains of what the economy has brought on them. But would you say, just briefly, that the speech on that day of about half an hour met the expectation and it was able to soothe the pains of Nigerians?
Well, the outline for that did not exist in the speech. It was not there. But if you took what happened just slightly less than a week ago, about 2 weeks ago, in terms of the ministerial retreat that took place, and how cognate agencies and departments of government were invited to see how they could organically connect and link up and be able to carry out specifics in terms of what the government agenda is with respect to development, how to reflate the economy, you think that we're really coming now to the basics. And this is what the way to go. It is very, very important that we go to the drawing board, know what the roadmap is, know who and who is going to key in, and get the requisite capable individuals that will help to power the